Hey, thank you for watching Dad Chat, a channel where I like to play World of Warcraft and talk about parenting related issues. Today I'm posing the question, can men experience a psychological shock when parenthood suddenly requires sacrifices that their wives have already been making for 9 months? This is something I have personally seen in my life through my friends. I think I set myself up enough to where this didn't affect me too much. I knew what I would have to give up. I knew it was going to be difficult. I knew it wasn't going to last forever. One day I would have my life back the way it was before. But when that baby is born, everything I have is dedicated to her. Everything, every part of my day is dedicated to her until she goes to bed. She is my life, and that is all I'm going to focus on. But I'm bringing this up because my wife and I watch a lot of Bravo on TV. One specific show we watch is called The Valley. We watched the entire season, and then last night we were watching the Valley reunion. I think we were on I don't remember, part two. But there's a couple on the Valley named Kristen and Luke. And throughout the entire season, so Kristen is older. She's, I think, in her early 40s now. She struggled to have children. She finally met the man who was the man of her dreams. Younger than her, I think, by a considerable amount. But met the man of her dreams who's younger than her. They had a child, beautiful child, and she has devoted her entire life to this child. But he's had a little bit of issues. He wants to go out on weekends, and he wants to drink, and he wants to go fishing. He had this life that he had before, and he's just unable to let it go. And he blames his wife. He blames her because he wants his life. He wants to have a life. He wants to have fun. He wants to be spontaneous. He wants to be this couple that they used to be, where they have intercourse all the time. Even after she was postpartum, like 3 or 4 months, he was complaining that they weren't having intercourse with each other and that they were just like roommates. You could tell that she was going through postpartum depression, that she was having a very hard time with it, but it seemed like he was not getting it. And during the reunion, I felt like she was apologizing a lot for things, and she said that she was working on things, and it just kind of irritated me a little bit, and it made me rethink about this because I think that when men are going through the pregnancy process, it's a lot different than women, and I think that they kind of have a 9 month advantage over us, and maybe they're also different maturity level and stuff too. Now, I think that what Luke did in during the season and everything is incredibly terrible. He treated Kristen horribly. I also think that he thinks he's in the right, that he thinks that he deserves the life that he used to have, and he thinks that he deserves to have this great sex life with his wife and all this stuff, and that none of that should change, even though it all does change. And maybe people don't tell you this before you have children, but you are going to feel like you are roommates with your wife because your wife is physically unable or does not want to have intercourse because of how her body has changed and what she's gone through. The whole breastfeeding process and everything, it's just not something that she's going to want to do. And your job is to be there and give her everything she needs and wait it out. That is your job. Anyway, I think that for women, when they're going through pregnancy, their body changes, their sleep schedules change for sure. They definitely have different energy levels than they once did before. They can have medical restrictions. They have to stop drinking. There are certain foods like sushi and certain activities that become off limits because of lifting and stuff like that. And even she's physically carrying the baby, so eventually pregnancy itself makes ordinary activities very difficult for the woman. And on the other side, men, when your wife is pregnant, you can basically live your life the way you've always lived it. You can go play golf, go to the gym, play video games, go out with friends, watch sports, pursue your hobbies, stay up late, drink, sleep normally, whatever you want to do. You can just do it because your body is not going through those changes. Your hormones aren't going through those changes. You're not going through a physical or emotional change of any kind. The only thing that you have to do is support your wife and what she needs. but you can distance yourself from that. Like you're not always in it like she is. You can go off and do other things while she sleeps or while she's resting, and you can have your fun and do whatever you want. And then when the baby is born, everything kind of creeps up on you a little bit, because now you have this responsibility that you didn't have before. Now you are thrown into parenthood, and all those freedoms you once had, you still want because you never had to let go of them, but you have to let go of them. And I think it can be very difficult for the male. And even though I think it can be difficult for the male, I think there's a different mindset that guys have to have once the baby is born, or even before the baby is born. They should really set themselves up for this. Like, I have these things that I love to do, but my wife has to give up a lot of things that she loves to do, so I'm gonna have to give that stuff up too. And I think a lot of male parents don't say that at all. There's sleep deprivation when a child is born. There's feeding schedules. There's childcare. There's leaving the house. Spontaneous activities. All these things become very difficult. So if you tell your wife after the baby is born, "Hey, I'm going to go out with my friends and go to a bar or something," her response might be, "Okay, who's going to watch the child while we go out and do this?" And your response is going to be, "No, I'm going out to do this, and you're watching the child, because this is what I do all the time. I do this every weekend." Or even with World of Warcraft, if you have a raid, you raid 2 or 3 hours a week or twice a week or whatever, and you tell your wife, "Okay, I'm going to do this raid like I always do." Her response could be, "Okay, I really need help with the child here. I need help with nap time, or I need help with bottles, or I need help with this and diaper changes." And you feel like this is an atrocity and it's unfair to you because this is something that you always do. But I think what guys don't understand, I think I've already said this, is that she doesn't have that break. She doesn't get a break. She is constantly in it. Your wife is constantly in this, and it can become a very lonely place where you're constantly having to nurse all the time, around the clock, if you're nursing or formula or whatever it is you have to do. But your baby has to eat all the time, has to eat, has to sleep. And while your baby is sleeping, like maybe 10 or 15-minute naps, you have to do everything else. So if you're just leaving your wife to do all that, it can be a very lonely and very hard place for her, because she feels like she has no one, and there's going to be some animosity there because you're going to be going out and you're going to be doing things and you're going to be living the life that you've always lived, and she's going to feel like she's raising this child alone because she's in her house, maybe in a room cooped up by herself, no one there to help her while you're out having fun. It is a very lonely and very hard place to be, and it's a very unfair place to be. Now, I think that I had my children later in life. My first child I had at 38 years old, and I lived all the 20s. I had that life where I was going out and I was doing things and I was having that exciting life. And I think by the time I had children at 38, I had realized that I didn't need that anymore. I didn't need to do the partying. I didn't need to go out. I didn't need to have constantly go out and see friends and stuff. I was fine with just staying home, taking care of the kid, taking care of my wife, doing everything I had to do to support her, and I just gave up everything that I had done before. Now, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. It was hard at first with the 1-year-old. Once she turned 1, we put her in her own room, and now that she's not in our bedroom, things are getting a little bit better. She's sleeping more through the night, so now I can dedicate my nights to doing YouTube channels and stuff like that. I can't go out. I still have to be in the house because my wife works at night, but I do have a little bit of freedom to do things that I wasn't able to do before. So it gets better. Like, life eventually gets better. There is I would say up to 1 year old is definitely the trenches. It is difficult. Newborn to 6 months for me is definitely the hardest. That is just draining because you have no time to yourself. There's sleep schedules that are very difficult. They go through sleep regressions constantly, teething and things like that, and it's really not fair to leave all that with your wife and to leave that all on your wife. And I actually have a friend who really demands that he has time to do whatever he wants at least once or twice a week. And his wife lets him do it because she feels bad because that's what he used to do before. And she wants him to have some sort of identity, and she wants him to feel like he's able to have his own life and do his own thing. But at the same time, she's not able to do any of that. She has to take care of the kids all the time. She works full time. It's very difficult. And she doesn't say anything because she feels bad about it. And that's part of the problem. Also, if you have a spouse where you know she's just going to let you do it, that makes it even harder for them, and it makes it even worse. So I think that it does eventually get better. Your children will go to kindergarten where they will be gone at least part of the day, all day. Then they'll go to higher grades, and I think as they get more independent and they go out more, you get more of your life back. My mom was a stay-at-home mom up until we left the house. We all moved out, and I would say when we were in our teens, there wasn't a whole lot of watching us that she had to do. She had a lot of freedom. Of course, I mean, you're going to be older at that point. You're talking 10, 15, 15, 16 years into the future. So I think a lot of people see that, and they see that they're going to lose their youth. But I mean, that's what having a child is you are giving up your life and what you had for the life of your children. Yes, it looks bleak that you're going to lose a lot of your young years that you had to party and have fun and do all that stuff. But that's not your wife's fault, and that's not your child's fault. This is something that you agreed to do together as a group, as a couple. It's time to band together. It's time to be a team. It's time to understand that what you're asking for is not what your wife is going to get. You're asking for freedoms, and you're asking to have your old life back, and she's not going to have that for a very long time. So you need to understand that in order for things to be fair, you two have to do 50% of the work as much as possible. And yeah, I think one day you will get your hobbies back. You will get what you want. But watching these Bravo shows, a lot of the husbands and a lot of the fathers on these Bravo shows are exactly the same. And I really just watch them because it makes me feel so much better as a husband and as a father. It makes me feel like I'm really knocking it out of the park compared to these guys. Um, and there's just this mentality, this when all these guys are together, there's this testosterone, and there's this mentality that they have that the men, like the women, are the ones who do the women's work and stuff like that. And I think also for me, I don't have a lot of male friends. A lot of my friends throughout my life have been female. So maybe I have a different perspective of it there as well. I don't always get along well with guys. I'm not like, I don't drink, and I don't really care about sports and a lot of things. I don't know about anything about cars. So a lot of things the guys talk about, I have no idea about any of that. So I don't usually have a lot to bring to a conversation with guys. So maybe that's a difference also, is just who I hang out with and who I keep company with. Maybe that's a difference as well. But when I'm watching these Bravo shows, it's so cringy the way these guys treat women and the way that the husbands treat the wives and the mothers of their children. It's really hard to watch, and I almost feel like it's scripted and it's not real. But then when you see the reactions of the women, you know that is definitely real. I mean, he's talking about how if he had known, they're engaged to be married, and he said if he had the child first, he might have never proposed to his wife Kristen because of how she's acting during the pregnancy. But she's clearly going through postpartum depression. It's not her fault. It's clearly something that she needs help with. She's reaching out for help, and she's saying, I need help from you. I'm having a very difficult time. And his response is always, well, I'm having a difficult time too. What about me? I'm having a difficult time with this as well. But his difficult time is that he's not able to do the activities that he wants to do, whereas her difficult time is that she's going through this depression and she's having a hard time emotionally and mentally, and it's just very difficult on her, the whole process. And postpartum depression is a thing, it is real. So them having difficult times is completely different, and his difficult time does not seem like it's as big of a deal. It does not seem like it matters as much, he needs to focus on her difficult time. But for some reason, he's having a hard time doing that, and it's hard to watch. But I think that the fact that men don't go through any physiological changes makes it so that when the child is born, they don't feel they're not prepared for what they need to give up, and I think that's the biggest issue. And I think, like I said, for me, I read a lot of books. I knew I've seen friends groups and stuff like that. I knew that this wasn't going to be the same life I was living, and now that my child is 3 and my other child is 1, I wouldn't give up the life I have with them for anything at all. I'm really glad that I've devoted so much time to them, and then I gave up all the things that were kind of trivial, because they're definitely more important. So that is my spiel about that. I hope you join me next time. Thank you.